In this video, we will discuss how to create automation, what logical sequences can be used, and we will show all the main features that can be included in your mailing. So, we go through the navigation panel to the automation section and click Create New Automation, giving it a name that will be easy to recognize, and immediately setting the days, hours, and time zone of operation. After that, the system allows us to create a sequence which is built in the form of a mind map. And the first thing to pay attention to is the add segment feature. In the standard configuration, the system includes a mailing from one or more sender profiles and randomly distributes contacts among them. But if you have multiple profiles and need to clearly distribute imported leads among each of them, adding a segment will allow you not to create a separate automation for each profile, but to combine all existing in one place. But note that if leads need to be contacted at different time intervals, for example, one in the European time zone, then additional automations are necessary. Each segment also has the option to set quantitative limits. What does this mean? For example, if you set a limit of 100, no matter how many people you add to the automation, even 1,000, they will be added gradually. The next group will not be added until the first 100 have completed the necessary steps. Next, we see the sender profile section. Here, you need to select the account from which you will conduct the campaign. Now let's go through all the possible logical blocks that automation allows. First, these are actions with requests in Connect. They can be sent and recalled. To send, we click on the corresponding block, and a connection note window opens. You can choose to leave it empty or add a short message. Don't forget that there is a limit of 300 characters for the connection note. Here we can use variables by clicking the Insert Variables button. We will explain more about them in just a minute. I also recommend keeping this switch in the active position, which means that if you run out of the limit for personalized connects, the system will automatically start sending empty invitations without text, so you don't lose the reach that can be achieved in a month due to LinkedIn limits. I also recommend using the withdrawal of the connect and setting it if the lead has not added you to their contacts within 3 to 4 weeks. LinkedIn does not like profiles with too many unanswered requests and keeps an eye on them. By recalling old requests, you protect your profile from unnecessary suspicion. Now, block messages. We have two options here, to send a message on LinkedIn or via email. Let's start with LinkedIn. We open the window and type the necessary text. We can attach files to the text, such as presentations, photo works, infographics, or anything else. The file size limit is standard, up to 25 MB. This is 5 megabytes. You can also use variables. Click on Insert Variables and see the list of data that can be added to your text automatically. What is here from the lead data, the first name, last name, position, location, and contact information. We can also add information about our lead's company, such as the name, website, size, industry, location, followed by the sender's profile data and then the date. After that, there are custom rules and variable functions. Also, if necessary, you can add your own variables to this list. There will be a separate manual for this. Under the text message is a toggle for send always. If the lead replied, it stops the automation. If the lead provides any response, it is turned off by default for you, as it is very rare to predict how a lead will respond and prepare an automatic message for that case. Therefore, if you enable this feature, we advise being cautious. Let's move on now to emails. When opening the window, we see that we can choose which email to send the message to, work, personal, or both at once. I recommend focusing more on work emails, especially if you are working in the B2B segment, to avoid violating corporate ethics and personal boundaries. Of course, it all depends on the field and geography of work. In some cases, reaching out to a person on their personal email is considered normal and yields good results. Next, we see a switch labeled Reply to Previous Thread. We leave it on if we want each subsequent email to be sent under the same subject, and turn it off if the subjects of the emails are different. We enter the subject of the email, the body of the email, and everything is ready. The next block is social activity. Its main purpose is to draw the potential client's attention to your profile. Usually, this can be used between sent messages if the lead ignores them and does not respond, or before sending a request to contacts. We can visit the lead's profile, like and comment on posts, as well as endorse skills. When using these features, it is important to remember a few key aspects. First, LinkedIn monitors the number and frequency of profile visits, and this is one of its main triggers for account blocking, so when building a sequence, we do not recommend using it too often. 2. For commenting on posts, you can write your own template. And keep in mind that the system comments on the latest post without considering the essence of that post. So in such cases, think of a maximally neutral comment that will fit any type and meaning of the post. 3. The ability to endorse skills on LinkedIn is only available for first-degree connections, so only take this step after the contact accepts your request. We will skip the phone section for now. This feature is still in development, and we will move directly to the triggers block. These functions operate on the if-else rule mechanism and determine subsequent actions based on the fulfillment of a certain condition. Yes, trigger connection request accepted should definitely be used after sending a request in connects to properly build the logic of the chain. In this case, the system will be able to check whether the contact request was accepted or not, and depending on the result, further actions can be planned. The message reply trigger checks for reactions to your messages. We recommend placing it after each sent message, so that the automation can stop or respond correctly after the lead's reply. Both triggers support the functionality of the social activity and waiting blocks. Functions can be placed sequentially one after another throughout the entire duration of the trigger. But keep in mind that an excessive number of specified social activities can disrupt planning and slow down the entire flow. For example, if you like to post in several places, one of the actions may completely take up all daily limits, causing automation in other areas of the flow to simply halt. Another important aspect is to set the waiting time directly in the trigger. It will work specifically during this interval. A common mistake is when a trigger is set. It defaults to 1 day, and after that, the person sets the waiting time. In this case, the logic of the block breaks, and it turns out that the system checks the trigger for only 1 day, and then simply waits for several days. No matter what happens during these few days, the system will not react to it, because the trigger's active period has ended. Therefore, you must set the time delay and social activities within the trigger itself, not after it. The time delay is a very simple function. It is the delay time before the next action. The data section is more oriented towards custom settings in the CRM. This block allows you to assign tags to a lead, change its status in the funnel, and assign it to a list after performing some action or rule. It also includes the function of changing the sender profile and automation. And the final set is called automation control. Condition rules provides the ability to filter contacts directly in the automation definition by creating rules. The variability of filtering parameters is very wide. This is already a story about custom system settings, and this filtering is limited only by your imagination. One of the simple and popular settings is to create a rule so that connection requests are not sent to those who are already in contacts on other profiles. Also, the A/B testing function is attached below. It allows for branching in our flow and creating a different action variant for each branch. The number of branches can be changed, and you can also control the proportion of how many contacts go to each branch. This concludes our overview, and in one of the upcoming manuals, we will show an example of real-time automation creation.